we're going to get this message, y'all, and get up out of here so that you can enjoy your Friday, okay? So we talked about why can't I, why can't you, why can't I have that, why can't you have everything you want to have because you were created to have the desires of your heart, okay? So we talked about that. Happy Friday, Dominique. Thank you for joining me. So we talked about that on Wednesday. And so tonight, I just wanted to elaborate on that just a little bit, okay? And we talked about having no limitations, being able to believe that you can have exactly what you want to have, being able to do exactly what you want to be, being able to design your life as you want to with the power that you have in yourself and the help of God, your divine support, okay? And so today I wanted to talk about understanding that what somebody else says about you does not have to be your truth, okay? Because in my experience with mentoring and coaching the women that I coach, and even in my own life and the lives of women around me, what I have discovered and what we can say to be true is that life happens, and when life happens, it's not always pretty. And when life happens to us, there are people involved sometimes, and there are situations involved that cause us to question things that we thought to be true, to question our abilities, to question who we thought we were, to question the ability we thought we held, to question the things that we thought we can do, to question the person we thought we were, to question the power that thought that we had, to the power that we have, to question things about us that if life hadn't happened to us in a certain way, then we wouldn't have those questions, we wouldn't have those doubts, we wouldn't have those situations that cause us to believe that we are not deserving of the greatest things in life, that cause us to believe that we are not deserving of love, respect, that we are not deserving of, positions of leadership, that we are not deserving of certain things in our life that we want. And because we decide, because life happens to us, because we decide that we don't deserve those things, we tend not to manifest those things. And so what I wanted to come in here and share with you today is you have to understand. I shared something in my group inside of She Grows Here, and I talk about She Grows Here all the time because that's my baby. That's where I pour out my heart to y'all. So if you are not inside of She Grows Here, get inside of She Grows Here, okay? And so anyway, what I shared with a few ladies over the last couple of days is you have to understand that just because somebody or some people don't believe in who you are, or don't see you the way you see you, don't see you the way that God sees you, don't recognize the person that you were created to be, doesn't recognize all the beauty in you, doesn't recognize all the gifts in you, doesn't recognize all the things that you bring to the table. Just because somebody else doesn't recognize it does not mean that that is not true. Just because somebody else doesn't recognize it, somebody didn't see the good in you, somebody didn't see the greatness in you, somebody didn't recognize the beauty in the spirit of you, doesn't mean that you don't deserve and that you weren't created to be exactly who you know that you deserve and who you know you were created to be. Other people's opinions of us do not have to become our truth. We should not even care about other people's opinions of us, because the truth is, and I remember telling my boss this years ago, because there was a situation that happened, and some people were talking about the situation, and they were talking about it the wrong way because they didn't even know what happened. They were speculating, right? And I told her, I looked at her and I said, you know what? They talked about Jesus. Why do you think they won't talk about you? And that resonates with me so much, because the truth is, whether people know the truth or whether they have developed and formed this lie about you, people are always going to talk about you. They're going to talk about you when they know you and when they don't know you. They're especially going to talk about you when they don't know you, because they're going to talk about and make up things to make things make sense, because you and everything that you are doesn't make sense. The things that you have, the things that you have access to, doesn't make sense to them, because for some reason they don't believe that they can be and do those things, and so they doubt that you can have and do and be that. If I wasn't good enough to be a teacher, how can they be a good teacher? If I wasn't good enough to be a lawyer, how is she good enough? They're going to look at you and think that you're not good enough because of the limitations that they place on themselves. They're going to look at you and tell you that your idea isn't good, or your idea or your business isn't going to go anywhere because of the fears that they have within them. So they're going to reflect those things on you. We have to understand and take heed to the fact that we are all human beings on this earth that have experienced some things. And because of our experience on this earth, we are walking around as a manifestation of those human experiences. So if somebody used me, if somebody abused me, if somebody, did some things to me that caused me to feel like I'm not good enough, when I see you shining and walking in everything and telling me, this is what God has called me to do, and this is what, I believe my gifts are, and this is what I got to do, and they're giving you a larger than life vision, or you're giving them your larger than life vision, they're walking around listening to your larger than life vision, your God vision, with their ears of abuse and neglect that have told them for years, or have told them for months, or have told them for their entire life that they aren't good enough. So they're going to deflect that on you and say, "Not, girl, you can't do that, because I came from where you came from, and if I can't do it, I know you can't do it." So we are walking around with other humans who have been hurt, who have been hit in the face hard by this thing called life, because we all experience life on different levels. And just because you see somebody in their winning season doesn't mean at some point they didn't lose everything they had, doesn't mean at some point that they didn't lose somebody who they thought they needed and they were going to have forever. Doesn't mean that something didn't happen to them that almost made them give up, that almost made them walk away, that almost made them decide that they weren't good enough, or they weren't called, or they weren't gifted, or whatever. We are looking at people, we are people walking around looking at each other through the lens of our experiences. So when somebody looks at you, even though you know what you're capable of, you know what God told you you can do, you know the strength you have, you know the mountains that you've been able to move with God's help, you know what you've been able to overcome, you know some things that they never seen or heard or know about you, but they want to tell you that you can't do something because of the limitations that they've put on themselves, because of the experiences that they have and the hurt and pain that they never healed. So you have to really be cautious of who you listen to in your season of trying to do something different, in your season of trying to change your life, in your season of making a decision that you are going to transition and transcend from where you've been to where you're going, that you now hear and understand what you're really called to do, what your purpose is, what the gift inside of you that you want to give out to the world. Be careful of listening to somebody. I don't care who it is. Be careful of listening to somebody when they tell you that you're not good enough, when they question why you think that you are the person that should be able to do that. Why? Who gave you the right to do that? Who gave you the experience? What gives you the experience? Who said that you can be that? The issue is nobody is in your prayers. Nobody is with you when you're speaking and talking those bold prayers, telling God what you really want. I made a post the other day in my group that said, when you tell God what you really want, like what you really truly want, he'll begin to open doors for you that you never even knew you wanted to enter. Like you never even thought about going down that path, but he's like, look what I'm giving you access to. Look the doors that I'm opening to you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that existed. I didn't even know that was possible for me. But when you begin to be honest and be truthful about what you really want. I talked to y'all Wednesday, when you make your decision, because it's about a decision. When you decide what it is you really want, and then begin to walk in that and pray about those things and talk to God and say, look, this is what I need. This is what I want to do. And this is where I'm struggling at. These are the things I need to grow. These are the areas I need to grow in. This is the area I'm struggling and being fearful. Like whatever it is, when you give that to him and begin to believe, you know what, God, well, if you said that I can have that, if this is something that I want, and you're telling me that I can have these things, who is it that can come in and tell me that I can't? Who is it that can come in and say to me, no, you're not good enough for that? As I was writing my notes, I wrote down, nobody will give you permission, because like I said, we're all walking around in our own experiences. And if they've never experienced walking in something that God is telling you to walk in, or if they've never experienced seeing somebody be blessed on the level that you know God is blessing you at, how can they say, oh yeah, girl, I believe you can do that. Yeah, I believe that. Oh yeah, go right ahead and start that $1 million business. Nobody's going to cheerlead for you, and nobody is going to validate what you know to be true, because nobody knows what God has for you. When you are in your prayers and when you are saying, God, this is what I want, and when he says, okay, the answer is yes, they don't hear that yes. So that's why it looks crazy to them when you start speaking about being a millionaire and you got $5 in your bank account. Because I'm speaking to my future, not to my present. I'm speaking to what I want to see come true, not what's going on in my reality, because sometimes our reality is a bunch of chaos. And in order to see everything we want to manifest, we have to block out the chaos and speak to and walk with the promise. Because whether you've been given your promise directly or not, God has promises for you, and he has a purpose for you, and he has a call for you to walk into. And that could be, you could be 20 years old and discover your purpose, or you can be 80 years old and discover your purpose. Whenever you discover it is when he decides to reveal it to you. But don't ever let anybody else give input to what you can take somebody's advice, but that doesn't mean you have to turn it into your truth, because all of us are walking in our experiences of what we have made decisions that are our truths. So if I've decided that I'm going to be broke the rest of my life, guess what? I'm going to be broke the rest of my life. But if I've decided that regardless of the experiences that I've had in this life, I am supposed to be a millionaire, then guess what? At some point, that's what has to manifest for me. So regardless of what you're telling me, based on your experiences, based on the fact that you've been lied to, cheated on, used, abused, and everything else, and you're stuck in all of that hurt and pain, and you don't know how to get out of that, I cannot allow you to tell me what I can't do because of your pain speaking through you. You have to make your own decision that, you know what, I've experienced some things on this earth that may not have felt good, that may not have looked good, that I may have thought I would be in forever. But if there's a promise and a purpose on my life, obviously one day I have to walk in it. And obviously one day things that are better than what I'm seeing right now have to manifest, if that's what I feel, know, and believe in my heart that I deserve and will one day eventually see more. And I can't let you talk me into staying in something that is hurtful, that is it's hurtful, and it's not very empowering or inspiring to believe that I have to spend the rest of my life living in poverty. What type of God would tell me that I have to spend my entire life living in poverty? And if you telling me that I have to spend the next 30 years of my life working for a company that I don't like, doing something that I don't like to do, doing something that doesn't fulfill me, being around people who don't support me, that don't fulfill me, that don't, even like me half the time, why? Like, what God that is a great and wonderful God would create me to live in stuff that I hate to live in all the time, until I just go and disappear? I'm supposed to be put here to live a life of abundance, right? That's what the Bible says. So why is it that I have to believe that I can't do what I want to do, or I can't be who I want to be, or I can't manifest what I want to manifest? Why do you get to tell me what I can do? Whose decision is it? It's my decision, not yours. And I'm okay with you giving me your opinion of what you're saying, but I have to consciously be aware of where that opinion comes from. Because if I'm allowing you to give me your opinion, that means you have to be close to me. Because you don't allow everybody access to you in a way where you just gonna allow random people to give you their opinions of your life, right? So if you offering me advice or your opinion, that means I hold you to some regard. So I should know at least some of your background. So if I know what you've been through in life, then I can understand where the lens or the experience that's speaking through. I know that you've been through some difficult things in your life. I know that you've tried some things and failed. I know that you kind of got stuck when you failed and you really haven't found your way back up yet. So for you to place your doubt on me is understandable, but that doesn't mean that I have to accept that as my truth. That doesn't mean that I have to say, you know what? Well, if she say I can't do it, then I must not be able to do it. Because the truth of the matter is, the worst thing anybody can tell you is no. And no just means find another way. Because if you can tell me no and she can tell me no, but God said yes, then somebody along the way that I need to help me get to my yes will give me my yes. So because you gave me a no doesn't mean the answer is no. It means the answer is find another way. And the answer is continue to look for other ways until you get your yes. And then when you get your yes, make sure it's the right yes that's going to get you to where you're trying to go. Okay, y'all. So I said I was only gonna be on here a few minutes. You know, it's Friday night. I want y'all to get to Gal Friday night events, and I need to go ahead and get to my Friday night event. So I just wanted to get on here, y'all, today and give you that word that drops in my spirit. Do not allow anyone to shake the truth that God has placed inside you. When God tells you something about who you are, who you were called to be, or anything concerning your life, do not allow somebody else's hurt, pains, or the lens of their experience to shift how you think and how you feel about the answer that God already gave you. Because we are all walking around a manifestation of our life experiences. And some of those life experiences hurt and destroyed areas of people more than you even know. Okay? So always remember, always understand the source of where that advice, opinion, or information is come from, and understand that you do not have to accept anybody else's opinion as your truth or your reality, because God is the one that holds the only answer. When he says yes, the answer is yes. I don't care how many no's you get, the answer is always going to be yes. And I posted that in the group too. Tyler Perry made it was a quote from Tyler Perry that says you can get 10,000 no's or you can get a million no. If you get one yes from God, then the answer is yes. So never allow someone else's fears, someone else's life experiences, or what someone else has to say about your situation, about your call, about your purpose, about your gifts. Never allow their thoughts or opinions to become your truth.